Thanks to our friends at The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Check out the link below, fool.com/the smattering, to get access to the 10 best stocks to buy right now. We are entering into the golden age of electric vehicles, and it seems like there are opportunities abounding. However, I think some of those opportunities are in areas that are not likely to prove profitable. And one of those companies, despite massive investor interest, is ChargePoint Holdings. I'm Jason Hall. This is The Smattering. I've got Tyler Crow here with me, and we're going to talk about our concerns with ChargePoint, why investors should look in other places, and we've got two alternatives for you, companies that have actually proven that they can make money that might be a better fit for your portfolio. Hey, Tyler.
EVs is such a wonderful, interesting, and at the same time, hard to understand industry.
When we've talked about this before, I firmly believe that EVs are going to be one of those things that fall broadly into the area of great for humanity, reduced emissions, less cost, less maintenance need, like all of the stuff that makes it good. Then you start bolting on some of the autonomy stuff down the road, making it safer. All of those things I think are going to be wonderful for humanity. But I think by and large, it's not going to be a great place for investors. And we've seen those sorts of areas happen all of the time. And I think that's one of the things that's led people to ChargePoint. So what is ChargePoint?
The idea behind ChargePoint is, on a very basic level, they build charging stations. The replacement of the gas station for electric vehicles is going to be fast charging, and the ability to get a reasonable charge in a short amount of time for electric vehicles in unconventional places, right? We've already seen this. You got charging stations in the parking lots at your mall or at your office park or whatever, or even now at the home. It's not like the same pull into the Buc-ee's or the Casey's General Store and start to fill up like we see today. They want to try to create this captive environment where they have an app where you can find charging stations and monetize that way. They want to do some things like advertising related to it and almost create a charging as a service. But it hasn't been anywhere near profitable. And it doesn't appear to be that way anytime soon. You start digging into the financials, and this company's incinerating cash, trying to build out this infrastructure.
It's not the only one either. We have other
No.
companies like Blink Charging, for example, that's been around for, I think at this point, a couple of decades and has never generated a positive economic return. So this isn't a brand new space. And I think one of the things that's going to continue to make it a challenge, Tyler, is that you have all of the OEMs that are rolling out their vehicles, and they want this to be seamless for customers. They don't want anybody building walled gardens that make it harder to have access or that make it more of a challenge. And the way I think about it, and give me your thoughts on this, is I think about it like gas stations. Gas stations, by and large, generally don't really make a lot of money selling fuel. They can make a little bit of money selling fuel, but there's a reason they sell soda and candy bars, because that's generally where they make money. Like movie theaters, they say the best place to build a movie theater is the best place to sell popcorn. So it's the same idea with gas stations. And the economic potential, I think, for these charging stations is vastly overstated.
Yeah, and the other point to it too is, like you said, creating this captive walled garden. Going back to the gas station analogy here, there's no walled garden when it comes to gas stations. Like you can pull up to any gas station and use it whatever you want, unless you're trying to sneak into UPS's fleet station or something like that.
And that's a crime. So
yeah, so you don't do crimes, people. Lesson learned here on The Smattering. But one of the things that I've been intensely curious about too is, much like the startup EV automotive manufacturers who had this running start, but now all of a sudden the legacies start coming in. Now you're starting to see that too here. The automotive suppliers, electrical suppliers, automotive manufacturers themselves, they are all getting into this business some way or the other. And in doing so, it's going to create an intensely competitive industry where, sure, there's going to be probably a huge deployment of this, but if you're doing it at 2% margins, nobody cares.
And we haven't even seen ChargePoint 2% margins. That's the dream at this point, right? To get to any level of profitability would be positive. I think we spent enough time beating up on ChargePoint. I want to be careful, right? Because at least they're trying and they're putting out this network and they're making the investment that I think is going to be positive for humanity, just not great for investors. So let's talk about some opportunities for investors to actually make money from this trend. Tyler, you go first.
I'm going to dip into the well of automotive manufacturers and go with BorgWarner, the company well known for things like turbochargers and superchargers, but have made this massive pivot to EVs. And in doing so, it's been a very interesting turnaround. And charging stations has been one of the things that they've been going after as of late. It's not probably their most lucrative part, but they're not looking to do some captive environment walled garden. They're just going to manufacture hardware. They're going to manufacture it to spec, and they have incredible relationships with a wide variety of automotive companies. So they're going to know exactly what the automotive companies want out of these things. And so it's not the most exposure directly to charging stations, but if you're looking at the explosion of EVs in general, I think BorgWarner is one of the companies that's going to benefit immensely with its portfolio of EV products that it's rolling out.
I want to talk a little bit about Enphase because this is a company that has done something that is remarkable, Tyler, in the renewable energy space, specifically in the solar hardware space. We've talked about this before. It's done it profitably, starting focused on the panel level electronics on the solar panels, right? So the inverter that takes the DC from the sun and converts it to AC that the grid operates on, right? So they've been really good at developing relationships with installers, with panel manufacturers, and being right there in that sweet spot and getting really good margins. More recently, they've moved into batteries. Disclosure, I have Enphase inverters, microinverters on my solar panels on my roof and an Enphase battery. So I have a little bit of a dog in the fight here, but they've also started doing home chargers. And I think a lot of people that are looking at these charging stations is thinking it's going to be the nouveau gas station, are forgetting that a ton of people that are buying EVs are going to take advantage of being able to charge at home. So they're not paying somebody, or if there's not enough chargers at work when they go to the office to plug in, that I think most of the charging is going to happen there. So Enphase's ability to start capturing that market share, I don't think you need to sell short because, again, they already have the relationships with the installers. And I don't want to undersell how important that is. So, again, is this going to be a big part of Enphase's business? Probably not a big part, but I think it's going to be a profitable part of their business because they have the scale. They've proven that they can get good margins on these products, and they have the relationships and the network effect that is beneficial for them, for the people that are doing the installing, going out and meeting with customers that have a relationship with Enphase that as a trusted partner. I think there's a lot of value to that. So before I would bet on a ChargePoint or Blink Charging or any of these others that have yet to prove that they can do this profitably and in an area that it's unlikely they're going to get high margins, I would bet on an Enphase, a company that's proven that it can get good margins and generate good returns, as being more likely to be a winner in this space.